All right, this morning, I'd like to start by recognizing and thanking our board of directors, as well as many current and former Consumer Advisory Council members and Diversity Advisory Council members. So if I could ask our board members, DAC members, CAC members to please stand and be recognized for all of your contributions this morning. Thank you. Okay. Today, our guiding theme is Belonging Matters. As human beings, belonging is important to us all from the moment we're born throughout our entire lives. And the benefit of belonging on our mental health and well-being is very clear. As we join together today, we carry with us a profound understanding of the importance of cultivating a sense of belonging, a sense that binds us together, strengthens our resolve, and fuels our collective aspirations. In reflecting on 2023 at CMHA-CEI, we experienced the power of unity and celebration through hosting vibrant events such as the Summer CMHA-CEI Day at Potter Park Zoo and the Fall Trunk or Treat. These gatherings were not just occasions. They were filled with joy, welcoming thousands, young and old alike, into a shared space, creating cherished memories. But our impact extends far beyond the confines of these gatherings. In that same year, 2023, we reached out and touched the lives of over 13,000 individuals and families through the provision of behavioral health services. We also earned a 3-year CARF accreditation, a testament to the unwavering commitment. Yes. Thank you. Testament to our unwavering commitment to excellence, improvement, and to expanding access to care. Behind these achievements lie the unwavering dedication of our board of directors, our staff leadership, the collaboration with our funders and our community partners, and the advocacy of local behavioral health champions and the innovation of our staff. Our initiatives have been guided by a vision of expanding the behavioral health continuum in our community, of nurturing our staff's development, of providing increased support to individuals and families, and of intensifying our outreach efforts to meet emerging needs head on. We stood strong in the face of adversity, responding swiftly and compassionately to tragic events, showing the resilience of our community spirit. As we look to the horizon, we see opportunities ahead. We're charting the course towards the integration of the Zero Suicide Framework into our care systems and working hard on the establishment of a state-of-the-art crisis stabilization center for the capital area. These endeavors signify not just progress, but a commitment to the holistic well-being of our community. In recent years, we have all come through the adversity of a pandemic and the traumatic impact of mass violence. Our guiding theme today, Belonging Matters, resonates now more than ever. For in our togetherness as a community, we find strength. In our empathy, we find understanding. And in our commitment to fostering a sense of belonging, we find and sow the seeds of resilient communities. Together, let us continue to build resilient communities, communities that champion empathy, understanding, and above all, a profound sense of belonging for all. Together, there is no limit to what we can achieve. Lastly, thank you to the resilient individuals and families that we served in 2023 for your ongoing inspiration. And thank you to our dedicated Community Mental Health Authority of Clinton, Eaton, and Ingham County staff members. It is through your efforts that we continue to expand our service delivery to the community. I also have the pleasure this morning of introducing you to our 2023 annual report. So you can follow along with the PowerPoint, or you do have a copy of it at the table as well. And I'm just going to take a few moments this morning to highlight some key areas. So we are going to start on pages 3 through 4, where you will see many highlights from across our entire organization as we continued efforts to expand our service continuum, increase outreach, and build our workforce. On page 5, you'll see the increasing numbers of individuals and families served across the Tri-County area as we embrace the federal model of care championed by our own Senator Debbie Stabenow and continued to develop as a certified community behavioral health clinic under Michigan's CCBHC demonstration project. Page 6 is where you'll learn more about how the Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic model has strengthened our service delivery over the past several years, and how we were honored to host a visit and roundtable discussion last June with Senator Stabenow and Dr. Delphine Rittman from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Page 7 highlights the Diversity Advisory Council and the strides that were made in 2023 in staff training, mentorship, and community outreach to enhance diversity, equity, and inclusion, both within the organization and in our interactions with those we serve. Page 8 shares the important work undertaken by the Veterans Navigation Team in assisting veterans and their family members in connecting with crucial resources to enhance their quality of life. Page 9 highlights prevention and outreach efforts undertaken through social media platforms, training, and events. Page 10 shows the numbers and demographics of those served and the revenue and expense information from 2023. And finally, the back page includes many of the community partners we had the opportunity to collaborate with in 2023. Many of you are here in the room with us this morning. Thank you so much for your kind attention. When you leave today, please feel free to take that report with you. I hope you'll take a little extra time to review it. And as always, please feel free to pass it on to someone else. We'd like to shift gears for a minute this morning and share with you a new brief video that we're using to get the word out about expanded substance use disorder treatment services available through integrated treatment and recovery services at CMHA-CEI.
Take the first step towards a healthier future by contacting Integrated Treatment and Recovery Services, ITRS, at CMHA-CEI. Connect with withdrawal management, men's residential, outpatient services, and medication-assisted treatment. Regardless of insurance coverage, contact ITRS through the CMHA-CEI Access Center at 517-346-8318 or visit our website, ceicmh.org. Contact ITRS today.
Staff recruitment and retention efforts remain at the forefront for us.
It looks like any other home in the neighborhood. Really, you wouldn't know unless you see the big van here that this is a group home. Yeah, there's 3 guys that live here. As a resident tech, I work in a home-like setting with people who have a variety of disabilities. We pretty much do everything with them 24/7. And then there are 4 bedrooms, and we use 1 bedroom as an office.
CMH, they own all those houses, and within the houses, the guys rent out rooms. So you just grow to be a part of their family. It's just really fun with these guys.
We have, I believe, 17 homes right now, and each one of them has a variety of different challenges. Some of them are more focused on people who have behavioral problems. Some of them are more people who have more medical problems, and then there are people with developmental disabilities, people who are mentally ill, and people who are dually diagnosed with mental illness or developmental disabilities.
We're literally who they see all day. To me, it's like a humbling experience because, many times we live and we look down upon people with disabilities, and we really don't know their like life story until you like get into the house and work with them.
You're working with a variety of different people. You have great coworkers and people who live in the homes. You end up bonding with them. Essentially, it's like a big group living situation that you're right in the middle of. I've worked in the agency now for about 26 years. It's just a very rewarding job. You've got some paperwork to do, but it's minimal, and you're interacting with people all day. Each individual has a different way of looking at what they want to do, so that's how we interface with them. That can involve doctor's appointments, it can involve somebody maybe wanting to stay in their room all day, it can involve going out to a park, going for walks, so you're going to work that into your daily routine.
Me and Letitia and another staff member named Drew and my roommates, we did security with the police at the state games to get free tickets.
That's an excellent bonus for us to be able to go with them. It's super cool to be able to do this job. So not only do you get to deal with people with developmental disabilities, is you get to interact with them like on a normal level.
People who are in this field and doing this kind of work are very supportive. So I just really like the working environment.
And then World Tag Team Championship, Chris Jericho and Christian versus Booker T and Goldust.
That sounds cool.
You're helping people and it feels good.
I feel like if you're gonna work here, just work here to grow. We're helping people better themselves. They come from nothing. We're all the God. So at the end of the day, you're coming to a family. It's just a great job. I love this job.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today and to tell you a little bit about some of the work that we do here at CMH around DEI. I'm also really honored to introduce Dr. Tanya Bailey later, and she'll be speaking with us about the theme of belonging and belonging matters. The concept of belonging is an important value to the work that we do at CMHA-CEI, because when we feel like we belong, we show up as our best, most authentic selves, which create the conditions under which we thrive. There are many ways in which we aim to create a sense of belonging at CMHA-CEI for the people that we support, our staff, and our community. And a lot of that comes together in our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, also known as DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are three closely linked values that work together to create a sense of belonging for different groups of individuals, including people of different races, ethnicities, religions, abilities, genders, and sexual orientations. If you're not familiar with the kind of breakdown of DEI, I'm going to give us like a little quick primer on it. I promise it won't be too much. So you can think of diversity as all the ways in which people differ and are unique. Equity means that there is a fair treatment, access, and opportunity for all people in an environment, regardless of their background. And inclusion means that a variety of people have power, a voice, and decision-making authority. Put together, we can use DEI to create a path towards that destination of belonging that we seek. At CMHA-CEI, we want to make sure that everyone, no matter their personal background, finds a place of support and affirmation. Through our work with the Diversity Advisory Council, also known as the DAC for short, we've made significant strides over the last year to create those conditions. The DAC is a long-standing pillar within the CMHA-CEI community, comprised of staff members dedicated to enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion, both within the organization and in the community. Some of the initiatives that the DAC has supported over the last year include staff training opportunities, the CMHA-CEI mentorship program, and community outreach endeavors. Through collaboration with the healthcare integration team in the Ingham County Health Department, we've partnered in the development of a pilot health equity training series aimed at enhancing staff awareness of healthcare disparities, particularly for communities of color, and worked towards equipping staff with the knowledge and strategies needed to address those disparities. This is an ongoing effort that will be growing over the next year through a collaboration with another team within Families Forward in the second phase of our health equity pilot. Another focus for the Diversity Advisory Council has been implementing trainings and strategies to support members of the LGBTQIA+ community. Last March, the DAC organized a Pronoun Awareness Week to underscore the importance of respecting gender pronouns and gender identities within the LGBTQIA+ community. Through informational emails and training workshops, staff were educated on gender pronoun usage and encouraged to create inclusive environments within CMH for all individuals seeking services as well as for staff. We know that through research studies that mental health disparities exist across social identities for a variety of reasons. And we also know that these mental health disparities have a profound effect on the LGBTQIA+ community, particularly for transgender and non-binary folks who face a multitude of barriers in accessing affirming healthcare, and that includes behavioral healthcare. Efforts like our Pronoun Awareness Week aim to create a welcoming and inclusive environment where trans and non-binary folks can feel that they belong. Community engagement was also a core focus for the DAC, and we participated in events such as Lansing Pride, the Lansing Juneteenth celebration, and the Hispanic Health Fair. And this year we're looking to add St. John's Pride to our outreach efforts as well, so you can look for us there. Ooh. We have some St. John's people in the room. Throughout these efforts, the DAC aims to raise awareness about mental health resources and promote accessibility to underserved communities. The ultimate goal is to ensure equitable access to quality care for all individuals, irrespective of background or identity. One of the Diversity Advisory Council's new initiatives in 2023 was the launch of a diversity, equity, and inclusion learning community for staff. And in our learning community, we tried to create a space for staff to gather together on a regular basis to collectively grow their knowledge and skill in DEI-related areas. Participants collaborated to set learning goals, choose topics of interest that support CMHA's diversity, equity, and inclusion-related mission and values. Some of the topics we've explored include disability visibility, culturally affirming therapy practices, and the effects of racism on mental health. Throughout all of the various efforts and initiatives supported by the Diversity Advisory Council, every day we move towards strengthening how we practice the values of CMHA-CEI's diversity statement, which states, "We affirm and value the uniqueness of all individuals, acknowledging the similarities and differences that exist among us. And we believe that those similarities will allow us to bridge our differences, moving beyond tolerance toward embracing acceptance of our uniqueness." Thank you for letting me share just a little bit about the initiatives we've implemented throughout the DAC this year. And I hope that the connection between diversity, equity, and inclusion and the concept of belonging comes through in our work.
To this amazing organization and all of you, I just have this small thing to say. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is pure. You're a pal and a confidant. Come on, you know it. And if you threw a party and it invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, "Thank you for being a friend." Come on. Perfect. Thank you. You all have been health agents, resilience, brave, and you really have been making a difference. If you read that report, I want to thank you for being here today. I never start a talk or a conversation without saying these words. How are you doing really? Because we have it on lock. And let me give a self-disclaimer. This is not a lecture. You are not going to let those eggs and potatoes set and you just kind of fall off into a morning sleep. And I apologize to this interpreter who is going to have the Tanya Bailey experience following me. And I will not be on this stage the whole time. I will be all over this room. So now that we got all that and you haven't left yet, let me just say, I need to know how you're doing really. So just do a check-in with the people at your table for about 15 good seconds asking those at your table, how are you doing really? And then lean in to listen to their response. Go. Three, 2, 1. Celebrate the person that listened to how you were doing. Fist bump, clap, elbow. You might even lean in and give them a hug to thank them. Now, why in the world did I ask that question? Because we live in a society where there's not always a genuine concern with our well-being. When I ask you the question, how are you doing really, it's letting you know I see you. I don't want the morning like, I'm doing great, and no. If I'm not having a good day, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm tired, I'm hungry, or my kids got on my, thank you, last nerve. I don't want to go to this next meeting. I just want to hang out with Dr. Bailey all day, whatever it might be. You can say that, but I hope you will take this practice with you, whether you are at the grocery store, working within the community, starting a meeting. Ask folks, how are they doing really? And then wait for it. And then be willing to share within yourself how you are doing. So for me today, I'm busy good. I am busy good, okay? So, a couple of things to help guide us, because some of you are new. Not everybody stood up that said that they knew me. So you're about to have the Tanya Bailey experience. What the heck is that? It's an experience. Let me just say that. Couple of things to help guide us though. So first and foremost, I just want to say, I want you to be curious today. I'm going to leave time in this presentation for you to ask questions, not just of me, but for those that are around you. I want you to speak to your neighbor, your colleague, and those that will be working with you today in a way that not only challenges your own aspirations or assumptions, but gets you to a place of leaping. Yes, leaping. This is a leap year, right? But I like to say it's our leap year. It's the year that we leap out of insecurities. It's the year that we leap out of being just comfortable and reserved. It's the year that we leap into doing new things like connecting with others and letting them know they matter. Last but not least, it's important for me to share with you that what is learned in this room must leave this room. We've had great breakfast. We're celebrating the great work of this organization, but that's not enough. In order for us to make change, we've got to share with others the change that we're learning about. All in favor? All right. Oh, I love this audience. Now, I want you to pick one of these hashtags, okay? One of these hashtags that's going to guide you, because we're here till 5 o'clock, I'm told. No? Just a short time? Oh, okay. So we're only here for a minute, but I don't want you to get lost in the sauce. So when you start to drift, or you want to look down at your phone and check an email or respond to a text, or maybe you want to do a selfie with me, which we will do, I want you to remember these thoughts, okay? So I want you to pick one particular hashtag that's going to guide you. So for example, yours might be self-reflection. So that's hashtag self-reflection. It means I'm going to attend to my own inner self. Maybe you're going to choose be open to possibilities. And that would mean hashtag be open. Or perhaps you're going to speak your truth in a way that respects others' truth. Real simple with that one, hashtag respect. I want you to take a moment. I'm only going to give you 5 more seconds because you've been looking at it as I've been talking, and identify a hashtag that you're going to allow your mind to guide you in this next 12-hour session. Ready? All right, everybody got their hashtag. Now, I want you to use as much energy as you can, and on the count of 3, I want you to express and share however you can your particular hashtag, all right, in a very loud Lansing way. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was a little, this side over here, you didn't do it at all, so we got to repeat it. 1, 2, 3. Now, did everybody catch what everybody's hashtag is? Great, that's the whole purpose. It's your hashtag. Therefore, I want you to live by that and not be concerned what others are doing. But when we think about belonging, it's like the real great paperclip connection. We can't just be diverse. We can't just work toward equity and inclusion and forget that belonging connects us together. This is our why. Is your shoe still off? Good, okay. There's a prize for this. One of the reasons we don't recognize is because we have some common fears. So take a look at your screen if you're able and identify perhaps a common fear that we have that keeps us separated and don't allow us to really value belonging. Is it the question that I will be seen as a fraud? Is it the question of maybe I wouldn't manage this conversation well if people, might hurt me again? Is it the question that says people will get defensive and won't know how to respond to me if I tell them that I'm a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, or if I tell them that I grew up poor, or if I come in here wearing what's called a protective style? See, you think it's cute, but it's also because of a medical condition that I have that you can't tell just by looking. So in 2016, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And because of that illness, I had to have and still some treatments that required them to go through my head. And so I needed a style that wouldn't allow the doctors to mess up my cuteness. What do you think? But perhaps I'm sitting on the opposite side of your interview table and you're thinking, why would she wear all those colors to this? Well, I have a reason, but you can't tell that just by looking at me. You can't tell that just by observing what I look or the shell that I'm in. And oftentimes when we do that type of judgment, we are having or avoiding a conversation that's really a leadership opportunity. So think for a minute, what leadership opportunity am I missing or avoiding because I'm not belonging focused? Let's read this together if we can. It says proximity breeds care and distance breeds fear. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. If you agree with that quote, raise your hand. Proximity breeds care. So the fact that we are in close proximity with individuals that look different than us, have different experiences, a byproduct of that is going to be care. I'm a firm believer that you can't solve a problem unless you go to that problem and become engaged in that problem. If I stay away from it and say that's just that community or that's just that problem, guess what? Fear is going to be a byproduct. It's what has fueled a lot of police brutality. It's what has fueled even going back to other issues and systematic things that we've had to deal with for a very long time. I love Dr. G because she is amazing. That's number one. Dr. G is Gabrielle, by the way. I renamed her. And she gave a great overview about what diversity, equity, inclusion is. And I just want to add to what she said. So if you're wondering and you're thinking, how do I embed this into my organization, more importantly into my life, you have to know that DEI is not about quick fixes. And this could solve a lot of the anti-DEI wars that we got going on right now, wouldn't you say? It's not about being confrontational. We're not trying to be confrontational to anyone. We're not trying to change anyone. It's not about addressing or looking at it as a problem, and it's definitely not a fad. Diversity, equity, inclusion is a beginning. It's a beginning to a conversation. It's a beginning to a new way of thinking. It's being introspective, and it's also a journey, not a destination. I noticed that one of the sponsors was the NAACP, of which in my branch I used to be the vice president. Now, if you want me to join yours, I need to know that we're about action, because I like to do it and then meet about it later. Still got your shoe off? Okay, we're ready to roll. We're ready to roll. That's what diversity, equity, and inclusion is. Aren't they cute? Don't you just want to kiss their cheeks? Well, this is what a lot of people think diversity, equity, and inclusion is. First of all, they like to just say DEI and don't separate the words because they think it's triplets. But I want to introduce to you diversity, equity, and inclusion is just as different as condiments. Relish does not taste like ketchup. Ketchup does not taste like mustard. But when you put them all together on a great hot dog or burger, it's thebomb.com, right? It's amazing. When you think about diversity, equity, inclusion, I want you to think about it maybe even adding to Dr. G's definition to diversity is always asking who's in the room. So take a moment and just kind of scan who's in the room. We've got a beautiful melting pot, just looking around the room. We've got variety. It's always asking who is in this room, who's in our hiring practices, who's in our community that we haven't reached out to, that we haven't began to have at our table and have conversation, who's in the room. Equity then is always asking, who's trying to get in this room? Who are we missing? Somehow there's some invisible barriers that perhaps we're not aware of that's not allowing those that should be in this room to get in this room. And then inclusion is always asking, now that we're in the room, has everyone's voice been heard? Do we have the technology and the resources? If I take these glasses off because of my health challenge, I could not see none of you read these slides at all. But you wouldn't know that by looking at me that I have that disability, right? So now that I'm in the room, can I participate? Am I able to engage? These are questions that we have to ask, because when we think about the difference between equity and equality, it's a vast difference. Now, if I gave everybody this shoe, isn't it cute? Bob, if we swap shoes and I gave you that shoe, could you fit it? What size shoe do you wear? 11. Be proud of that 11. Well, this is an 8. So if I gave everyone in this room this shoe, would everyone be able to say, yep, I feel valued, I matter? No. So when we talk about the difference between equity and equality, we have to focus on equity, because equality is giving everybody this shoe. Equity is giving everyone the shoe that fits for them. Somebody said, that's good. Right? Now, I do go to church, so if that's okay, you need to say amen. It'll be allowed. Okay, all right. And if you don't go to church, you can just say, you go, girl. That's good, too. All right, there you go. I just want you to see the difference of how we can make sure that belonging matters for everyone. Many of you in this room have seen this, right? And if not, just make a little noise if this is your first time seeing this graphic. Great, all right, yeah. We're learning together. So this is a great picture about the difference between reality, liberation, equity, and equality. In our reality, and many of you that work in this organization and in this community around mental health, you see this. The reality is that many of us have different challenges and require difference of support than others, right? But that does not mean that we always get those resources and challenges to meet those needs, right? Equality, everybody got the same box. Everybody got the same shoe. Equity, let's give the boxes that folks need, right, in order for them to see this game. Anybody like baseball in here? All right, come on, make some noise. We're not going to talk about the Tigers right now. Yeah, they're really good, but I don't, this will turn a whole different way if I start calling out teams. I know it. But liberation is where we need to go, and even still, this picture doesn't do it justice. Because while there are no boxes and everyone seems to be at a level playing field, has anyone noticed in this picture that they're still quite far off from the game? And where are the chairs or where are the accommodations? Who's coming around with popcorn, pretzels, beer? Way back here. Who owns the team? Yeah, who's got directions? That happens to me all the time. So understanding the difference makes the difference for us to become belonging experts, belonging activists. That's my hope for today. So I remember a lot of times when I didn't feel like I belonged. To this day, I step into many rooms and they look at me differently. And they size me up. As cute as I am. They miss it. Shame on them. They size you up. They miss it. Maybe an organization misses it, misses a whole community, a whole section of a community, a whole population of a community. How are we seeing the world through the lens of mattering? Wouldn't our political situation be different? As I step away from that conversation, not on my watch, not doing it. Do you feel like you belong at the place that you work? Do you feel like it matters of the effort that you give? Are there appreciations set up for that? Here are 4 things that I believe everyone needs to thrive. Number 1, we need relationships. We need partnerships and relationships, particularly with those that have different backgrounds than us. Number 2, we need better in communication. We need more opportunities like this to connect, to share what we've been doing in the community, but to increase that communication so that everyone knows this is our why. In our organizations, we need number 3, we got to create spaces for feedback. This entire time we've been together, I've been modeling these 4 things. Relationships. Nothing gets more personal when you got to take your shoe off. We're together now. We said I do. All morning long. Somebody's excited. All morning long, we've been communicating, we've been talking, and that's the one thing that we often don't do in our organizations or even in our own personal life. We don't talk. Our children are down like this on their devices. Our mates are down like this on their devices, right? We forget the power of communication, the power to talk. We forget also the importance of getting feedback, even if you don't want to hear it. When I do my staff evaluations, it's not an annual thing for them to be, criticized and ostracized and examined for what they did or did not do. When they come in, I flip the switch. I said, now, thank you for coming in for this evaluation. Whew, how am I doing? How can I be a better leader? What should I be doing in the organization that you see that I can't see? Isn't that something? Do you like our Monday meetup meetings? Tell me, because I'm here to improve. We'll go through the HR rigmarole. Yes, I'll tell you what I'd like to see you improve on, but I want to improve. How can our organization get better? What is the word on the street about us? When we get ready to do a program, are members of the community on that steering committee? Because if we're really honest and we look at even this iceberg of culture analogy, most of what we present is all the things at the top. The thing that sunk the Titanic was not the top. It was the stuff at the bottom. And it's the stuff at the bottom that we don't take time to get to see and know about others. And this is why it's important that we don't make quick judgments, that we take time to learn, take time to lean in, and let others know that they're valued. One of the reasons that we shy away from mattering is because of our biases. But our biases start in us from a very early age. Some researchers say it's as early as the age of 3. People learn how to become biased. By the age of 10 to 12, they develop a sense of fairness and start working on whether or not they think something is good or bad. And then, by the time they're 21 like me, they're set in their ways. Can't tell them anything. How many remember projects like these when you were growing up? Now, don't tell your age. Just raise your hand. Where you had to practice your writing and, right? So what's wrong with this, though? Could anybody tell me? Sad and angry. Okay, count out or shout out, who's happy? Oh, somebody said white people. The little girl in this picture with no face seems to be more happy than the guy who looks to be a person of color. His word is sad. The person that says proud underneath their name has some level of achievement. But look at the person at the bottom there that says the word angry. We are taught biases. Our children are taught how to be biased. And when that happens, belonging goes out the door. So they're just learning how to write the word happy, sad, proud, and angry. But it is the images that is connected to it that causes these individuals to feel as if this person is associated with anger. This person is associated with what it means to be happy. So our biases can keep us from really embracing belonging. So think about your form of impression and where you typically size up a person. Maybe they speak a different language than you. Maybe their presence is obvious with a certain level of disability. Maybe in your mind they're clean or dirty or they behave differently. All of these things create the root of our cultural norms and our cultural differences. And this is how they're established. And then we normalize it. What are some common cultural differences? Your fingerprint is yours and unique to you and nobody else has it. That's something to celebrate. We might have the same eye contact lens or eye color. We might love Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah. So here are 5 tips to further foster belonging. Are you ready? Can everybody shout out number 1? Just the first 2 words. 1, 2, 3. Provide training. Whew, if you don't have Tanya Bailey in your organization, just kidding. I don't know what you're doing, but we got to provide more opportunities for our entire organization, not just those in middle management or those under management, but somebody say management. Correct. So we can't just send our people to training. We also have to be a part of that training. Why? Because, and I really like the word education over training. Because we can come here, you'll remember this, that, person in the green shirt dress, that was cute, where'd she get that? And then won't take out anything else, right? So the training is crucial, but it is not the end of the conversation. What's number 2? 1, 2, 3. Find ways. So at one of the organizations that I work with, I've helped them to develop something called Virtual Healing Fridays. I knew you would like it. Virtual Healing Fridays. And what we do on those Fridays, What we do on those Fridays is have the opportunity to let any employee come in on a Zoom, and there is what I call mental massage music. They can have their screens on or off. They can open up about the Lions not winning or whatever it is they need to get off their chest. Or just sit quietly and have that space and still get paid for having a virtual healing space. And what I'm finding is those organizations that are using that practice, they are soaring when it comes to belonging. And then we don't stop it at just that organization. We open it up to community members and allow them to be a part of a virtual healing. What's number 3? 1, 2, 3? Seek. If I told you that before you all got in here, I had placed $100 under one of your chairs. Somebody said, oh my God. I did not. But if I did, you would tear that chair up. If I said ready, you would be already on go, right? That's called seeking. And how about we start doing seeking when it comes to mattering and seeking understanding of differences and those that are around us, right? Oops, I don't go back one more, sorry. What's number 4? 1, 2, 3. What's an ERG? Oh, of course you know this, HR.
Employee Resource Group.
And give her a big round of applause for her beautiful voice today. Employee Resource Group, resource group. If you don't have one, we have to get them. And there can't just be one. There has to be more. There has to be as many parts of diversity that we have in our organization to reflect the organization that we want to be or that we're growing in that area. Number 5. Everyone in here knows one person in your organization that they do all of this all the time. And they pretty much have 4 or 5 different hats that they wear. They're the one that you call when you need help writing a statement. They're the one that you call when you need help trying to figure out how do we pull this together. But that's just that one. Suppose they do hit the lottery and leave or retire. We have to begin to start looking at how do we get everyone involved, and not just inside the organization, but in our community. How do we create coalitions that allow members of the community to serve on our board, to serve on our steering committees? That's important. So take a selfie of this. I'm going to get near a screen so I can get in it, because I want you to have this conversation when you leave this place. Are you ready? And you must send this to me. It won't work if I don't get it. Okay? Somebody say, oh, hold it. Got it. I asked you to take that selfie because I want you to think about whether or not this is my organization. We got all the resources around us. We got all the support. The community loves us. But we got square tires. How are we really functioning as an organization? What is the things that we need to do better? Maybe it's not an organization for you. Maybe it's just you. All the resources are there, but you're rolling on square tires. Think about how we are really functioning. How can we get better? How can we improve? If you're able to read this quote with me, let's do it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. Ooh, it's not even noon yet, and we're dropping jewels, right? But it's so true. How are our systems set up to receive or support belonging? One more selfie. I won't get in this one, but take it while you can. Because these are all homework talking points I want you to do with yourself and the teams and community around you. How are new projects and tasks currently being distributed? Is it going to the same person? Whose voice is often never heard? All of those questions, I want you to take a selfie of that so you can have the tough conversations when you return back to your spaces. One more selfie. And some of you have this handout at your table. I want you to identify, how do we notice subtle biases within our organization? Also think about, how do we increase check-ins? Remember that, how are you doing really? How do we make that a practice? And how do we highlight our commitment to belonging during our hiring as well as our attraction processes? This is what you can do next. Let's set some big, audacious goals about belonging, not just in our organization, but in our life. Let's have some realistic expectations. Here's one. Everyone may not get you. Get them. Everyone may not understand you. Understand them. Provide adequate resources in order for initiatives and events like these and belonging efforts can take place. And then ensure that it's sponsored and supported with stability. We gotta practice what we preach and mean what we say. These last few steps before I take my seat just gives you some practical things to think about. Number one is really huge. Listen. Number two, start participating. Stop saying I did that back in the 80s or 70s or last year. What are you doing this year? Learn, join, and become accountable. Somebody said, ooh, speak. Aspire. Don't be afraid. Remember I said earlier, this was our leap year? It's our opportunity to aspire to something great. When I began to write this book, it has taken me, maybe 10 years to write this book. I had to aspire to leap, to do something different, to plan, to have assessments of what I'm doing, to speak up, and then to collaborate. Remember Starbucks had that big debacle? And they arrested some individuals because they were just sitting there waiting, trying to have a meeting, right? Remember that? Anybody remember that? We have to create spaces even within the workplace. So one of the things that they did, they started closing down early. Remember that? And they started having conversations. They changed up their systems and routines so that things could get better. I love John Lewis, and I always get in some good necessary trouble because of him. He says, yes, please celebrate. He said a couple of things that have changed my life, but I want to challenge you to be a dream operative. #do. 1, be curious. 2, be bold. 3, be forgiving. You're going to make mistakes, but make sure belonging is still an important aspect. And 4, be brave enough to do it all over again. Many of you may know the story of the starfish, of the little boy that was trying to rescue all the stars that came on shore. And someone watching by said, oh, why are you doing that? You can't save all of these. You can't make a difference. And his response was, yeah, but I made a difference to this one. You may not be able to change the entire county, but you can make a difference in someone's life by making sure that they know that they matter. So a few things to think about as I get ready to take my seat. Be intentional. Belonging is not accidental. I'm going to say it again. Be intentional, because belonging is not accidental. Yeah, this is a good slide to take too. Get support from those that are around you and ask them for their thoughts. Craft a vision around belonging. Ensure that belonging, diversity, equity, inclusion is in every aspect of what you do, not just an add-on. And use your best resource possible, your employees or those that are in the community. So I want you to close your eyes for a second as you just take a moment to reflect on our time, on how you're different now than when you entered this room and had all those eggs and potatoes and good coffee and great conversation, your shoe off, your shoe on. The things you've done before noon today. What did you learn? Where do you need to grow? What actions will you start taking to create that culture of belonging in your workplace and beyond? So if you indulge me, I'll just say this. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets red-glare, the bombs burst in mid-air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? You matter. You belong. Thank you so much.